Everybody, welcome to another episode of the Be Wise Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Wright. This is not normal, a normal podcasting day, but I needed to jump on because I want to discuss Don Lemon. And I'm not even in my studio. I just saw so much Don Lemon footage today that I thought, you know what, let me jump on. This is not my normal mic, not my normal studio. So let's get it cracking. Anyway, what do y'all think about the whole Don Lemon situation? Because I think Don Lemon is spiraling right now. He's cycling. He doesn't really know what to do next. Because I tell you what, if I was to see DOJ associated with my name, I'd be super nervous. Now, maybe he's an experienced person in this industry that the words DOJ doesn't bother him. But not only does DOJ bother me, but Trump's DOJ bothers me even more, right? Because you're like the enemy. You're the adversary. So I just don't think Don Lemon is taking this serious enough. All right. So if you don't know what's going on, you had to be hiding under a rock. The other day, there was a resistance protest by a bunch of people who stormed a church during service. And Don Lemon is the face of that. He doesn't even understand, why am I the face of this, is what he says. He doesn't even understand why he's the face of this. He's the face of it because, damn it, you're Don Lemon. You're a celebrity. You have 2 million TikTok followers. And then you have millions of followers across social media platforms. The people who organized this protest, this would have been a nothing burger if you hadn't shown up. It would have been one day in the news and everybody would have moved on. But Don, you really miscalculated this entire situation. Now, me being a churchgoer myself, I thought what you did was extremely offensive. I can't imagine you doing that in a synagogue. I can't imagine you doing that at a mosque, Islamic temple. I can't imagine you disrupting any other religion's service, not the Mormons, not Buddhas, Hindus, whatever. I can't see you doing it. So let's take a look at a quick clip and try and, just get an idea of what he was thinking when he did this.
What do you think of this?
I mean, this is unacceptable. It's shameful. It's shameful to interrupt a public gathering of Christians in worship.
But there were folks who will say,
I have to take care of my flock.
okay, but listen, we live there's a constitution in the First Amendment to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble and protest.
We're here to worship. We're here to worship Jesus because that's the hope of these cities. That's the hope of the world is Jesus Christ.
I want to be very respectful. Please don't push me, though.
We're here to work.
Don't push me. Okay, his hand's on your arm. He's trying to tell you, I need to go. You're not being respectful of his church, and you're definitely not being respectful of his time. So let him finish.
Worship Jesus.
Yes.
That's why we're here.
Yes.
Okay, that's why we're here. That's what we're about.
Don't you think Jesus would be understanding
we're about
and love these folks?
We're about spread.
Okay, so now he's questioning the pastor about Jesus being understanding. This guy's got some balls.
The love of Jesus.
But did you try to talk to them as a Christian?
No one is willing to talk.
Okay.
I have to take care of my church and my family, so I asked that you actually would also leave this building.
You don't want us to chronicle what happened?
Unless you're here to worship.
I'm always worship. I'm a Christian.
We're here to worship.
Don, you're a Christian? You're a Christian. So you think a Christian would storm another Christian's church just because you believe and others believe that the pastor is associated with ICE? Now, if that's his day job, why do you care? You think Jesus cares, God cares that this man, his day job is working with ICE? I don't think so.
We're here to worship. Okay.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right, so that was him. And not only that, there was more footage of him. They were screaming, they were chanting something. I'm sure it was something like abolish ICE in the church. People were running all over the place, chanting out loud. Some of the churchgoers were leaving with their children in a panic, scared. And it was just very, very, very embarrassing. So he's taking a lot of backlash from media, from the DOJ, from some celebrities all over TikTok. And there are a few people like Torre who are defending him, calling him a freedom fighter, people comparing him to Dr. King, just being in uncomfortable places. I don't get it. Let's watch a couple of clips where he's really catching hell.
DOJ announces intention to charge Don Lemon under the Ku Klux Klan Act. I want to remind everybody that Don Lemon is a Black man, and today is Martin Luther King Day. All right, so walk us through this. You went to Minnesota. You're an independent journalist, and you are reporting on all of these ICE protests, and you end up at a church.
I was asking people what's going on the ground, and they said, well, there's this thing happening that they've been sending out flyers for. Perhaps you want to cover this. So I said, sure. And they ended up at a church. I didn't even know they were going to a church. Now,
you are lying. You are lying, Don. You're lying through your teeth. I didn't even know where we were going. You flew all the way. I think you live in New York. You flew all the way to Minneapolis, and you had no idea where the protest was going to be. They didn't tell you it's going to be at such and such church, First Baptist or whatever, on so and so street. You didn't know until you arrived in Minneapolis where this protest was and what the story was behind it. Come on.
All of a sudden, it blew up into this big thing where I am the one who is leading the protest, and somehow I'm the agitator here when I'm just the journalist.
You are not, first of all, you're not just a journalist. You're not even a journalist. You're a content creator. If everybody on TikTok and Instagram called themselves a journalist, we'd all be in trouble. Okay, so you are not a journalist. You used to be a journalist, and I don't even know if I would call you a journalist on CNN, but you are not a journalist.
And so this church is ICE friendly, is my understanding.
According to the group, they said that they found evidence that someone who is a pastor or registered as a pastor there is also an ICE agent or works in some capacity with ICE. And they think that if that is the case, why are you a pastor at a church?
So a pastor, okay, so by the way, working with ICE is a real job. It's not an evil job. You're not with the Ku Klux Klan. You're not with the Black Panthers. You're not with the Nation of Islam. Those are groups of people, organizations that people might find as being divisive or incendiary or something that would cause some type of angst with people's hearts. But if you work with ICE, okay, immigration, officers, that's a real job. So if you're a captain with them or a lieutenant, or you work in administration, or you work in operations, some capacity with ICE, that doesn't mean that it's evil. So why can't you be a pastor and work with ICE?
If you were working as an ICE agent, that's what they went in to protest. And that's what I went in just to report on.
These are the people who feel like America is for Americans and American only. These are white nationalists. You, a gay Black journalist, are, prime bait for them to drum up these charges.
All right, I don't know what happened there, but how did his sexuality and his color come into play? I think Don prepped her. All right. And I don't know if he did or not, but it has his race, his sexuality has nothing to do with it. And speaking of sexuality, all right, Nicki Minaj, she, let's watch the video.
What is going on with Nicki Minaj?
Christianity is central to all of this, right? That was really the thing, the first domino where she very publicly started to support President Trump. That was her sort of tiptoeing into MAGA world when Trump came out and said that we were going to take military action if necessary in Nigeria to protect Christians who are allegedly being persecuted and massacred, allegedly, in Nigeria. And Nicki Minaj had already tweeted about that issue. And then when Trump started talking about it, she very publicly supported him, sat down with Charlie Kirk's widow, with Erica Kirk, and full-throatedly said she is a supporter of President Trump and J.D. Vance and the administration.
I don't think Nicki Minaj is that smart. I think she...
Okay, so I wanted to stop there because he gave you the full reality of what happened with Nicki Minaj. Went to Turning Point USA, supported, Donald Trump, and fighting against Nigeria and what he called the genocide, or the massacre against Christians and things like that. And Nicki Minaj is she's not just a rapper, but she's a very prolific rapper. She knows how to write, put words together, put sentences together, and she's at a net worth of probably $150 million. She's no dumbass. Okay, so for him to insult her because she insulted him in the way she did I agree with the way she insulted him? No, but Nicki Minaj does things for shock value. Nicki Minaj does things. She doesn't run from a scrap. She does not run from verbal fisticuffs on social media. She's come out against Jay-Z and other rappers, and she will go toe-to-toe verbally with people. And, I guess Don is trying to do that too, but I just don't like the fact that he's about to insult her intelligence. He's going to insult her intelligence. That's a bad way to start. So let's see what he had to say.
Vance and the administration.
I don't think Nicki Minaj is that smart. I think what she's smart at is creating outrage and doing things that are outrageous because that works for her. That gets attention for her. She doesn't have the creativity and I believe the intelligence to be able to do something in an articulate way to gain some real attention and to bring light to a subject. What she's doing now is not going to bring light to anything. It's just going to be outrage. It's going to enrage people on social media. It's going to just divide people more. And if she is a true Christian, she should be trying to bring people together and not be so divisive.
So you know what? If someone talked to me the way Nicki Minaj did, I would get it. I would get it. Excuse me, but I mean, she said, I'm not even going to put the tweet up on the screen because it was foul. She did say something disparaging about gay people. She actually changed the word and put up an eggplant. And if you know what an eggplant is on emojis, then you get it. But I get why he was upset about it. But when you retaliate, you need to retaliate with a little grace. Hey, Amanda, thanks for checking in. You need to retaliate with a little grace and decorum. And he did not do that because he calls himself a professional journalist. A real journalist wouldn't do that. They wouldn't even respond to what Nicki Minaj had to say. So let's see. There was one more video I wanted to show you. Oh, this was Donald Trump addressing Don Lemon.
They're patriots, and they have to be abused by guys like Don Lemon, who's a loser, lightweight. I saw him the way he walked in that church. It was terrible. I have such respect for that pastor.
He saw me when I walked into that church, whatever. I thought he didn't pay attention to me. That's why I'm trending. And look, we have a First Amendment. Journalists are protected under the First Amendment. Journalism, the freedom of speech, the freedom of the press. And so I believe in the Constitution. I also believe that as a journalist that I have an oath. I feel that I take an oath to bring the story to the American people, just as doctors and attorneys have oaths to do no harm. Now, remember this, people, because they're so upset. You can't go to whatever. People in the church had cameras. What's the difference between this camera and a cell phone? Because a cell phone.
I want to reiterate, Don Lemon is not a journalist. He's a content creator. Big difference. Once you lost your seat at CNN, your days of journalist are gone. And now, if you get another job at a newspaper, an online publication, something that's legitimate, but Don, when you were a journalist and some blogger, remember bloggers back in the 90s? If you were a journalist and some blogger came up to you and said, "I'm a journalist," you would immediately have told him you are not a journalist. So let's clear that up.
Phone can actually expose more things than just this camera, because the cell phone is connected to the internet and the information can go out immediately without you checking to see if it's allowable, and you can be live with it. So the thing is that everybody has a phone now, right? And everybody has a device that can capture things. And so, there were people in the congregation who were capturing things.
And that's why you're not a journalist. If everybody that had a phone labeled themselves journalists, then I would be a journalist right now. All right. So if you were to send me a cease and desist for mentioning your name and showing your videos, I would say, but Don, I'm a journalist. You can't stop me from reporting and chronicling, is the word you said. Don't you want us to chronicle what's going on in your church? Well, don't you want me, Don, to chronicle what's going on with you and Trump and Nicki Minaj? I'm just chronicling. It's my right. Freedom of speech, freedom of press. I'm not a journalist. I don't fall under the same category as journalists. I can be sued for defamation. I can be sued for lying. Like, I don't have the same protections as a journalist. But at the end of the day, I just wanted to hop on today. Like I said, this wasn't really a podcast day. Tomorrow, I am going to be doing a podcast. We will be talking about the decoupling of Black Americans who are conservatives and liberals and progressives. We'll be talking about that in depth. I'll be doing that live tomorrow. So jump on with me. I can't wait to see you. I'm not sure what time that will be, but you will get a heads up. Take care, guys.